Hello and welcome to Unfrazzle with me, Louise Miller. If you're a solo business owner and you have a big, exciting vision and loads of ideas that you want to get out in the world but without drowning in a sea of overwhelm, then this is the podcast for you. Each week I'll be sharing bite-sized insights to help you stop faffing and stay focused so you can make your brilliant ideas happen and make a bigger impact in the world. It's time to step away from the hustle and find a kinder, more sustainable approach to productivity. So grab yourself a cuppa and let's get started. Last week's episode of Unfrazzle was about tuning in to how you want to be feeling and the energy you want to bring to your January this year. And I avoided adding to all the New Year, New You vibes on purpose because to me, paying attention to how you're feeling and being intentional with your actions is so much more important than starting the year feeling the pressure to make resolutions that, let's face it, will probably be long forgotten by February. And truth be told, I love this time of year. I really love that feeling of a clean slate and the opportunity to do things differently. But that doesn't have to be about setting lofty expectations that have been influenced by what other people consider to be important. Instead, it's about getting quiet, taking time in that treehouse that I spoke about in episode 13 of this podcast to really tune in to what's important so that you can act in alignment with that. You see, if you want to be productive in 2024, you need to know what matters to you and to the growth of your business and what doesn't. You need to know which strategies and activities and approaches are right for you and which aren't. And a really great starting point for that is to get clear on your values, to think about what lights you up and what makes you want to run for the hills. Spend some time reflecting on what feels natural and easy for you and what feels like pulling teeth. And spending some time in the treehouse pondering those questions will allow you to build a picture of what truly matters to you. And that picture will evolve and shift as you continue to pay attention and get curious. None of this is fixed. It will shift and evolve, and that's absolutely okay. But the most important thing is that you are being proactive in addressing the very first thing you need to do if you want to be more productive this year, which is quite simply to figure out what's important and what isn't. Because that is what will stop you from wasting time on busy work. That's what's going to ensure you're giving your focus to the activities that will really move the needle for you and for your business this year. And then once you've figured out what's important, you then get to set some intentions that will allow you to dedicate more of your time and energy to those things. And I'm using the word intentions on purpose because to me that feels so much more sustainable than the word resolutions. We've all experienced that sense of failure when we break a resolution, and it's not nice. But you can't actually break an intention. It's always there for you, reminding you of what matters. It's ready for you to recommit and pick it up again as many times as you need to over the course of the year. So as you think about your intentions for the year ahead, remember that this isn't just about your work, it's about what you want your life to feel like as well. What do you want to create space for? And what would you be happy to see the back of? So to help you see what I'm getting at with this, I'm just going to share a few tips and examples that will help you to have an on-purpose and productive year. So first of all, be really clear about what you're actually going to do as part of your intention. So, for example, one of my intentions is to honour Screen-Free Tuesday. And that is because I want to spend less time glued to a screen. But instead of saying something really vague, like watch less TV, I've committed to Screen-Free Tuesdays, which means that after I finish work for the day, my phone, my laptop and my TV are off limits and I need to find something else to do with my time. And, because I love a list, I have got a little menu of options of things I can do on Screen-Free Tuesdays. Sometimes that might be, catching up with housework. But hopefully other times it'll be more like doing a jigsaw. Tom and I are listening to the Harry Potter audiobooks at the moment, so we might do that together, or play a game, or, get out for a walk. All these sort of analogue things that will help me to enjoy my Tuesday evenings without being glued to a screen. So the second tip for you is to remember as you write your intention that the aim is not perfection. So I've set an intention to get outside every day. But sometimes that won't be possible. If the weather is particularly hideous, for example, I am more likely to want to stay under my blanket. And there was no way I was leaving the house when Storm Henk was passing through last week, causing absolute chaos. And that's okay. I'm not going to beat myself up for not wanting to go outside in the middle of a storm. But the intention remains. My aim is still to get outside every day. And even if I don't manage it one day, I'm not going to throw the whole thing out the window. I'll just pick it up again tomorrow. This is not about perfection. And the final tip I want to share with you around this today is to come up with a fun or creative name for your intentions that actually makes you want to look at them, remind yourself what they are, and want to honour them. An example of this, a few years ago, I wrote a list of intentions that I rather loftily called My Manifesto for Intentional Living. And that title might sound a bit silly, but it really worked for me. I love this idea of having a manifesto for myself, and the intentional living is such a part of my core values that it really hooked me in and made me want to follow through. But what you call yours, your version of this, whatever that looks like, is entirely up to you. I'm just inviting you to use language that works for you. I see this all the time with my private In It Together clients, is that they'll keep putting something off over and over again if they're seeing it in their calendar. And sometimes me just asking the question, well, what could we call it that would actually make you want to do it? And coming up with a more fun, more inviting name for a thing. It sounds really silly, but it can sometimes make such a big difference. So think about what language works for you. If you enjoy following rules, you could call them rules. Or if you prefer something softer, you might want to think of this as your guide for an on-purpose year. Just find what works for you. The aim being that you're going to come up with a handful of intentions that can really serve as your anchor as you move through your year. This is about creating those statements of intent that will remind you what's important so that you don't spend your time and energy on things that aren't. So if you want to be more on purpose, more productive this year, I just encourage you to come up with your own manifesto, your own set of rules for intentional living, whatever you want to call it, because getting clear on how you want to spend your time will make it so much easier to keep distractions at bay and stay focused. So I hope that helps, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you for listening to Unfrazzle. Sharing is caring, so if you loved this episode, please share it on your socials or head over to Spotify, iTunes, or wherever you get your podcasts and leave me a review. Not only will I be hugely grateful, your ratings and reviews will help others to find this podcast so that even more people can make their ideas happen. Thanks so much, and see you next time.